Good evening, everyone. I'm Riley King, and welcome to the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. Let's begin. First up, coastal communities prepare for another storm. Let's take a listen to this video from WMUR News 9, Jennifer Crompton.
To strive to our glory and to our destiny.
Our situation is more dire than you may understand. We may lose all our men. This place wants us dead.
Well, we're here at the north end of Hampton's North Beach, an area known as Centennial Park, and here's the concern. These Jersey barriers used to be on top of the seawall here. They were knocked off in the last storm. You can see all the debris that was brought in. Not enough time to get them back in place. That would effectively keep any water out. Now, we went up and down Route 1A. Seacoast DOT crews are out working on some of those shale walls, trying to shore them up. They were knocked down in this storm. Seawalls along our seacoast took a pounding with the nor'easter, and the fact that it's spread over multiple days and multiple astronomically high tides means that this is the fifth or sixth time these same workers have been out here trying to build them up to keep the ocean off the roadways and property.
So before tomorrow, we have to have this buttoned up as best as we can before we have to put the plows and the spreaders back on our trucks and plow snow.
You guys getting any sleep these days?
Some of these guys are working on pretty limited sleep right now, and we're very concerned about that. So we're going to be wrapping up today by dark, and we're going to send everybody home so they get a good night's rest for tomorrow.
The good news is that the tide in the next storm will be back to normal. Whether or not it will reach some of these vulnerable areas isn't certain yet, but Homeland Security is hosting conference calls through the days with communities, including those on the seacoast, to determine just how vulnerable things might be. We'll have more on that later today. For now, live at Hampton Beach, Jennifer Crompton, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Police officer accused of rape, kidnapping, assault, and battery. Let's take a listen to the video from WCVB Boston.
Erica, good evening to you. Both the officer and the woman he's accused of raping are members of the National Guard, and both were training here last weekend. Whether the two previously knew one another depends on who you ask. Now, stripped of his badge and his gun, Chicopee officer Corey Fournier walked out of court after pleading not guilty and posting $5,000 bail.
I can tell you that he definitely denies the charges.
Investigators say the alleged assault took place last Saturday on the grounds of Fort Devens, where both Fournier and the alleged victim were training with the National Guard.
Both were members of the National Guard. Both of these individuals did not know each other prior to this evening, prior to this assault.
That contradicts what the Chicopee Police Department wrote on its Facebook page. It says Fournier and the alleged victim did know each other, but didn't say how. Fournier has been with the department for the past 4 years and with the Guard for more than 9 years. And prior to that, he was in the U.S. Army and served 2 overseas tours, including to Afghanistan.
There's shock, sadness, disbelief, but we have to trust the judicial system to handle this and to look into this and follow it through.
Fort Devens straddles 2 towns and 2 counties. Because of that, and because the facility comes under both civilian and military authority, figuring out whose responsibility this case is might be complicated.
That's something that I'm still looking into. I believe it's state court jurisdiction. There was some question about which town it happened in and why we're here and not in Ayer Court, but I guess the Commonwealth is confident that we're in the right court.
Tonight, a spokeswoman for the Massachusetts National Guard tells me that the Guard does have a, quote, very robust program.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Court documents reveal disturbing child sex abuse allegations against Waterville couple. Let's take a listen to the video from WNTW News 8 Jim Keithley.
When I was first diagnosed with MS, I went through a range of emotions, from denial to anger to fear to acceptance.
Steve, here is the 10-page police affidavit, in it revealing graphic details of what a 16-year-old girl says she endured over the course of 4 years. The victim disclosing the sexual abuse allegations to a DHHS caseworker back in February. The victim says that both Michael and Jennifer Stevens forced her to watch and participate in various sex acts and was beaten with a belt. The victim said the sexual abuse occurred every day. The alleged abuse happening between 2010 and 2014. The girl was 9 years old at the time. In the court papers, the victim said the abuse made her so sick that she vomited and was made to swallow her own vomit. The district attorney says more charges are likely because investigators confiscated cell phones that depict graphic photos of other children.
It's so hard to even read about it, let alone to imagine what the child went through. Yeah, this is particularly disturbing.
The DA says the couple has 7 daughters. They are all in protective custody right now. The Stevens are being held at the Kennebec County Jail in Augusta. Bail set at $250,000 cash each. Live in the studio, Jim Keithley, WMTW News 8.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And now let's take a look at your U.S. markets and see how your U.S. markets closed for this Tuesday evening. And here's a look at the U.S. markets right now. Your Dow Jones Industrial Average closed in the green and went up. Your Nasdaq closed in the green and went up. S&P 500 closed in the green and went up. CNBC IQ closed in the green and went up. Gold closed in the green and went up. Oil closed in the red and went down. US 10-year closed in the green and went up. Euro/USD closed in the green and went up. And VIX closed in the red and went down. Stocks closed higher, but investors remain on edge over Traff's debate. U.S. stocks closed higher on Tuesday, but Wall Street remained on edge over an ongoing debate over Traff's proposed by President Donald Trump. Traff's would cost 146,000 jobs, group predicts. Let's take a listen to the video from ABC News. And it looks like they have it.
Walmart asked 3 amazing directors to make a film inspired by a Walmart delivery box.
So the challenge in doing this shoot is to craft a narrative with just a box.
Fascinating way to see like how 3 people see the same thing.
I felt this is an audience that loves film, so why not make something about movies?
You feel like you're watching a sci-fi movie.
30 seconds is daunting. Let's wait and see if I figured it out.
President Trump standing firm on his plan to impose tariffs on imports of steel and aluminum. at a photo op with the Israeli prime minister saying the move will not trigger a trade war. But his own party, Republican leaders tonight pushing back, and some of America's trading partners already threatening to impose tariffs on American products arriving in their countries. Which states here at home are the products from? They were carefully chosen. Here's ABC's chief White House correspondent Jonathan Karl tonight.
The tariffs announced by the president roiled the financial markets and outraged American allies and Republican leaders. But the president told us today he's not backing down.
Paul Ryan says he's worried about a trade war. Are you going to back down on the tariffs?
No, we're not backing down. People have to understand our country on trade has been ripped off by virtually every country in the world, whether it's friend or enemy. Everybody.
But a new analysis out tonight by the Nonpartisan Trade Partnership projects the Trump tariffs on steel and aluminum would result in a net loss of 146,000 American jobs in a single year. Speaker of the House Paul Ryan is practically begging the president to reconsider, saying, quote, "We are extremely worried about the consequences of a trade war." But the president has declared trade wars are good and easy to win. Although today,
I don't think you have a trade war.
No trade war?
I don't think so. I don't think you're going to have a trade war.
in a bid to diffuse tension, Speaker Ryan met today with a group of European ambassadors. But the European Union is already vowing retaliation, threatening to impose tariffs of its own on iconic American products. Bourbon from Senate Leader Mitch McConnell's home state of Kentucky, Harley-Davidson motorcycles made in Speaker Ryan's home state of Wisconsin, and jeans from Levi Strauss, which just happens to be headquartered in Democratic leader Nancy Pelosi's San Francisco district.
John Carl with us live tonight from the White House. And John, the president's own advisors were caught off guard by his tariff announcement, sticking by it. He is the president. Of course, we know this is a particularly turbulent time at the White House, and the president himself joked about this over the weekend at the annual Gridiron Dinner.
Yeah, he joked that it had been a calm week at the White House, and then talking about all of the problems surrounding his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, his security clearance downgraded. The president joked, "We were late tonight because Jared couldn't get through security. Ivanka, you've got to do something." And then about all the staff turmoil following the departure of Hope Hicks, he said, "The question everyone keeps asking is who's going to leave next, Steve Miller or Melania?" So he at least had a sense of humor about it all over the weekend, David.
All right, John Carl tonight. John, thank you.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And that does it for this edition of the Riley King Newscast. I hope you all have a great rest of your evening. I'll see you back here tomorrow with another newscast. Good night, everyone. Bye.